of this video, making money in human design. We're finally ready to move on to the throat center. The throat center is going to be such a different one to talk about in comparison to the other ones because there aren't that many people with an undefined throat center. Because the throat center has 11 potential gates, there are so many ways to hook up the throat center. That high number of gates means that there is a very low percentage of people who have this undefined. So what is the not self of the undefined throat center? Trying to attract attention. Now, if you are not self with an undefined throat center, you get very caught up in ways in which you can get attention. Now, attention doesn't just mean that somebody's looking at you. What are we getting when we're getting attention? We're getting some type of validation that what we have to say is worth listening to. If you're an undefined throat, what's natural for you is to sit next to somebody who has a defined throat and to feel the sense of pressure building up that says, oh, I want to talk. Oh, I want to talk. Oh, I want to talk. When's it my turn to talk? The evidence of this is when the defined throat is talking, the undefined throat is very fast to interrupt. Now, this is the unaware, not self, undefined throat. It wants to jump in, it wants to participate. It wants it to be like a volley back and forth. But if you're an undefined throat, the correct expression for you isn't to talk, 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 talk. Really, the correct expression for you is to listen. Now, you are watching the channel of somebody with an undefined throat. I have an undefined throat. In fact, I have one hanging gate in my undefined throat, and it is gate 35. I'm a 35.3 in my personality Earth. Yep, that's where it is. We are also in the week of 35 and 5. You know, my birthday was 6 months ago. I feel is a common way that I express myself because that is my only hanging throat gate. Now, if I were someone who talked and 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 talked, I would like somebody to say, hey, Sam, you don't need to do that so much. In fact, here's a kicker. Hey, Sam, if you really want attention, you don't have to talk that much at all. In fact, Sam, if you really want attention, try saying nothing. Now, in this format, it doesn't really work for me to say nothing. But this is not how I live most of my life. This is something that I actually make very, very specific time for. It is Sunday. I record on Sundays. I typically spend 1 to 2 hours recording on Sundays. That 1 to 2 hours usually gives me 2 to 4 different videos that I can cut. That's a couple weeks worth of content for me. You don't see me go live all the time on Instagram. You don't see me just talk that much for talking's sake. I do pop onto my stories on Instagram pretty regularly to relieve a little bit of pressure or say a few things. But what I spend a lot of my time doing is listening. Most of my work with clients is a one-to-one format, and I talk a lot during my sessions, but I don't monologue or lecture the entire time. What was actually really interesting is I just had a session with someone who said that they had had sessions with other projectors before, and that they were assuming that it was a similar protocol for all of us, and that they would come into session and I would tell them what I saw in their body graph. And I said, hard no. Hard no. You're a sacral being. On top of that, you're receptive. I'm going to need you to say some things. I'm going to need you to answer some questions. I'm going to want to pull some stuff out of you. This is not for me to lecture somebody. That's never what my sessions are. My sessions are very, very, very conversational. I take a lot of pride, I take a lot of pride in being able to ask a really good quality question versus delivering a really good quality answer. If you are someone with an undefined throat and the not self is feeling like you need to attract attention, then the solution to this is to make sure that you realize that's actually not what you're here for. If you go, I'm not getting attention, I don't have the defined throat, I must say all the things so people look at me, No, that's not what they want from you. And if you're an undefined throat and you talk, I want you to think about the fact that you're not talking in any kind of consistent voice. I have talked quite a bit about the vocal work that I've had to do. I have a lot of different voices. I'm quite good at parroting other defined throats. The only thing that is authentic about my voice is I'm not even gonna use these words right. I wanna say the pitch, the tone, the volume. I'm not saying those words right. When I pay attention to my voice, I pay attention to the fact that I'm not talking up here, that I'm not like flexed and keeping everything up in my throat. I'm looking for an embodied voice. There's a difference with being comfortable with your voice when you have to say things. There's a confidence in my voice because what I have to say comes from a place of a deep understanding in my body. When I'm not sure about things, I sound unsure about things. That's not the same as having a defined throat or an undefined throat. There is confidence in using my voice when necessary. If undefined throats were never meant to speak, we would probably be born without vocal cords, or we'd be mute or something. So it's not that we're never supposed to speak. It's that we're not supposed to get caught up in this trip, this mental narrative that says, if you don't talk, nobody knows about you, nobody cares about you, nobody values what you have to say, nobody's listening to you. That's not true. If you have an undefined throat and I want to sell you the right transformation, I'm not going to sell you how to get attention. What I'm going to sell you is how to be okay with what you are, how to be a really good listener, how to not interrupt other people. These are things that are going to make you feel like a better human for other people to be around. More natural, more comfortable, less pressure to be what you're not. Higher self-acceptance, higher self-love. That stuff's magnetic. It's attractive. That's what I want to sell you. And really, I'm not even selling you anything right now. I'm just giving you information. I want to give you information, not to sell you something, but to make it significantly harder for others to sell to your not self.